So this week I wanted to do something different. I took some of these pictures from the dogwood tree I had at my last house. These are old pictures, but I printed them out. We're not going to follow them exactly, but we're going to learn how to draw a dogwood. It's close to Easter when I'm filming this. It'll be after Easter when I actually upload it to YouTube, but it's okay because dogwoods are beautiful any time of the year for me to draw anyway. Alright, so I just have these as a reference guide. I'm not going to copy any of these. We're going to do our own little arrangement with them, but this is just for reference, and I just wanted to show you some of them. Now you'll notice that the dogwoods have this nice bubbly center and 4 petals on each flower, so they're not that difficult. I thought it'd be a good flower to start with so that maybe, you won't be so scared of drawing. So the first thing that I'm going to do, is I'm going to draw a guide for my first dogwood. I'm going to do a sort of a circular blob. And then in the center, we're going to do sort of, I want to call it almost a tiny egg yolk shape. It's flat on the bottom and it has a sort of a dome top. And then like we discussed just a second ago, the dogwood has 4 petals, so we're just going to draw 4 lines out from this center. And I'm going to curve them just a little bit. And this one this way. So then now you have a guide for your petals, and you'll want to start on one side of the petal. These petals are thin toward the center and thicker as they sort of blossom out away from that center. And you'll just draw your petals, and you'll want this line to be in the center of your petals. And let them overlap just a little bit. Now let's draw another one. Let's make one sort of facing. So we're going to do sort of facing us. This one's a little bit off to the center, but this one will be exactly facing us. So we're just going to do a circle, and of course put a circle right in the center, and then we're just going to put our 4 guides for our petals. And then we're going to remember that it's skinny at the bottom, and this one's just folded over a little bit. And then we'll just do another one. It also has the dent. And I think we're just going to do 3 dogwoods. 3 is a good odd number, and it makes for an interesting composition. So we're just going to let's do one here. Let's see, let me look at okay, I got one. I'm gonna do one sort of facing up. And the thing about dogwoods are their leaves don't really come out until after the flowers bloom. Let's see, let's put this one a little bit high. We'll make this one a little more round since it's sort of tilted. And let's make the petal go this way, and this petal go this way, and this one, let's have that one curved up. Just like so. And then let's do this one this way. Since it's a shorter petal, it's further away, so it is foreshortened. There we go. So now we've got sort of our structure done. Let's go down a little bit further closer so you can see a little bit better. We've got our structure done. I am going to add some leaves, even though the leaves don't come out until after the flowers. Sometimes the leaves are on when the flowers come out. We're just going to do a few little leaves here and there. Just around. I might even do a leaf sort of peeking out here. There. Now these center parts are if you'll see, are made up of a bunch of little tiny dots or little tiny circular globs. So we're just gonna put those in there. Just sort of draw in the basic little blobby shapes. This one is facing us, so they're more circular and not, see how these are long, so more oblong, but these are facing us head on, so they are more rounded until you get to the edges, and then the edges they flare out, so they'll be a little bit more oblong along the edges. And this one is sort of facing that direction, so it'll be sort of flared out around the edges, and then in one area they'll be sort of circular because they're more facing us. And there you go. So we got the basics down. So what we want to do is I have some fine liners. These are Oahu. Anyway, these are some black fine liners, and we're just going to trace around our images. Now, I don't know if you know the legend of the dogwood, but it is said that Jesus's cross was made out of the dogwood tree because the dogwood tree was once really big, really strong like an oak tree, and it made great wood for building things, and it said that his cross that he was crucified on was made from a dogwood tree. Well, the legend has it that God cursed and blessed the dogwood tree. The curse was that it would always grow small and the branches would be crooked and it would never be good to build anything from again because of its tiny branches, its tiny trunk, and its curved branches. But then God blessed the dogwood tree with these beautiful flowers that arrive every spring just in time for Easter, and they are shaped like a cross. They have 4 petals. They are shaped like a cross. It's said that the center here that I'm drawing is like the crown of thorns, and then there's indentations here on each petal that are representative of the nails that were driven into Jesus' hands and feet. And on a lot of dogwoods, right here is a little brownish red, and that looks like drops of blood from the nails. So that is the legend of the dogwood. I don't know if you're familiar with it, but I thought I'd share it with you since we're just coming out of Easter. And I thought it was pretty interesting. Now this one is sort of folded over that petal at the end. And then we're just gonna draw in those centers. And this is with a 02 fine liner. And we'll just get these leaves in here too. And put a little bit of veins in them if you want. Let's do a sleeve here. Another leaf here. Alright, once you get your basic outline, make sure that it's dry, and then you can just erase all of your guides. Make sure you do it in like an H-type pencil, a light pencil, so that it's easily erased. And then we're going to add some shading. Oh, I just love this. This came out better than I thought it was going to come out so far, but we're going to add some shading to it and some line work. So once you get that all cleaned up, oh, I see I forgot part of the petal here, so we'll just come back and just add that in. So for the shadowing, I am going to go for a smaller type pen for the shadowing of the center. So I've got a 005 here. And in the center, right around, I'm just doing sort of curly cues, right around each one of these little sections, these little stamen. And that gives it a little texture, and it also gives it just a little bit of shading there. Then I'm going to also do a line up through the center of each one of the petals. And then I'm going to do some really light lines for shadowing right around that center part. You can also do some from the top. Just do a few little lines coming down. That just adds more dimension. We're going to work our way around these petals. And you can even do more hatch work really close to the center there to make it darker, and then lighter as it comes out from the center. And I'm trying to emphasize these marks, these little dents at the ends of each one of the petals. So we're going to do initial longer hatch marks, longer lines, and then right next to it we're going to go in there and darken that little ring up so that it gives us a shadow, a darker shadow toward that center. And then of course we're going to add some more sort of line work. And you can come to the center and add a little bit more line work. Now for the leaf, I am going to go with a bigger, a number 8, which is really fat, and I'm going to do some stippling. And this is just, I really like to shadow with stippling when I'm working with pen and ink. I just like the way that it looks. Where it's darker, you want to put your little dots closer together to make it darker. As you come out on the the leaf, you just separate those dots further apart to make it look lighter. You can go down the center really dark in that center vein. And it just gives it a contrast to all the line work on your flower. But you could also do dots for your flower as well, or you can do line work. You don't have to break it up. I'm just showing you a different technique on this same painting that you can use, but you could do it all with lines, or you could do it all with dots, stippling, pointillism. Totally up to you. Now pointillism takes a little bit longer than those dots, but it is very meditative. I mean, pointillism takes longer than the lines, and it is very, very meditative. And you can do that on all of the leaves. And you can try it on your flowers as well. I'm just breaking it up, doing the leaves a little differently than the flowers, just to add a little bit of more interest. But I'm going to tell you, you can do anything you want. You can try just doing little squiggles. You don't have to do dots or lines. You can shade with squiggle marks. Totally up to you, how you want to do it. Just remember, when you're doing the pointillism, the stippling, whatever you want to call it, where you want it darkest, you just want those dots to be really close together, As it gets lighter, you're just going to spread the dots further apart. So now I'm going to go back to my, was it a number, what was that number? Can't remember now. Anyway, I'm going to go back and start doing line work. We're going to finish all the flowers. I wanted to just show you some leaves. And, oh, you know what? I know what I wanted to do. I also want to take that number 8. It's the same one we just did with these dots. And I want to darken up some of these lines on the flower. With that fatter pen, it just gives a darker line and a little bit more dimension to it, just a touch. And I might just do those tips as well, those little indentations with some of that really fat line. Oh, look, I got my hand in it while it was still wet. That's what I was trying to warn you about earlier. We're not going to worry about it. I'm not going to do anything with this but keep it in my sketchbook, and I'm just trying to show you some drawing techniques with the pen. So that's all we're doing. We're going to just go ahead and finish off all these flowers. Again, we are doing little squigglies in the center. Here, I'll do it larger. This is all I'm doing, but just on a smaller scale right here in the center. I'm just doing little squigglies. That's what I'm calling them, around the little round stamen. And that's sort of, and making it a little bit darker toward the very center, a little bit less squiggly toward the edges. And then we're going to do some line work right there toward the center. And then make it a little bit darker closer to that center. Here, this one is sort of curled over, so we want to do some shadowing right under it because it is curled over on itself like that. And we're just going to continue around the flower in the same way, and then put them a little, put those lines closer together and shorter toward the center. Elongate them toward, as we're going toward the middle. Little indentation there. Supposedly it is the mark of the nails used to crucify Jesus, as legend has it. And I'm going to turn this one just a little bit so that I don't get my hand in the wet ink. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to do little squigglies. Squiggly, squiggly, squiggly. You have to make those noises. It's like the law. Yeah, squiggle, 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 squiggle. Those hatch marks. Just going to do these hatch marks here toward the center, making them a little bit darker, close to that crown of thorns in the center. darkening up that indentation. You can draw some lines out from it. So I hope you give this a go. It's just really easy. You just draw yourself a guide for the actual flower and just try to get in those shapes. It doesn't have to be exact. You don't have to copy a picture or trace a picture. You can just use it as a guide like I did here. And you're still going to come out with some convincing dogwoods. Dogwoods are one of my favorite trees. I don't know why I do not have any planted in this yard, but I may have to plant some this year and rectify that. I'm just putting some shadow, some little lines to indicate shadow where this leaf is overlapping this petal. Now I am going to come back with my number 8 pen, if I can find it. Where is my 8? And darken up some of these areas just to give it a little bit more dimension. Also want to darken up these little lines on the edges. Sort of in the center as well. And it shouldn't be scary, shouldn't frustrate you. I'm also going to do some of these petals a little bit deeper. Some of these a little bit darker here. And sort of do a little messy jiggle there. Now you can come back and do your stippling on your leaves so that your leaves are just a little different from your flowers. Of course, you can do it any way you want. I just thought I'd show you 2 techniques here. One is hatch marks and one is stippling or pointillism. Both are very effective. And meditative, especially these dots. I could just get quiet and let my brain go right into a zone. I'm serious. And just relax and feel so refreshed after I'm finished because my brain has just completely relaxed with doing all these tiny little dots. It's very good for your brain. Tap, 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 tap. And then where you want it to be a little lighter, you just spread those out. You can also use a smaller nibbed pen. This one is a big pen because I wanted to cover a lot of area quickly. I didn't want this to take all day. So I chose this, but you can use your smaller pen and it would be really pretty. It would take a lot longer because of course the pen nib is smaller, but it would still be really pretty. As a matter of fact, I encourage you to try if you have some pens and you have different size nibs on your pens. I highly encourage you to try that out. I will link these below in the description. This set, I think they were like $11. I really like them a lot. I'm glad I bought them. I'll probably buy them again when these start to run out. I don't mean $11 a pin. I mean $11 for this whole set right here. For this whole set that I have. I'm not paying $11 for one pin. That's not gonna happen. Not gonna happen. No siree. That is not. $11 for a pen? No. I think the most I've ever paid for a pen was a marker, and it was $4. It was a watercolor brush pen, a dual tip, and that's probably the extent of how much I'm gonna pay for a pen, for a single pen. Of course, I guess you should never say never. Darken this up just around the edge. I'm going right over those hatch marks with just a few little dots, just to sort of make that stand out away from the leaf a little more. And there you have some really cute, I think they're really cute, dogwoods. So I hope you enjoyed this quick drawing lesson. For my Patreons, I'm going to give y'all a worksheet with step-by-step instructions on how to do this. So be looking for that. If you're not a member of my Patreon, you might want to consider it. You would probably get this as a download for a coloring sheet as well as an instruction sheet, and that's for my dabbler tier for $5 a month. It's really inexpensive for all of the stuff that you get. So anyway, happy drawing, and I hope you've enjoyed this, and I will see you soon.